Your bike may feel fine today, but thousands of riders are pouring silent engine killers into their tanks and finding out too late. In this video, we expose the 9 motorcycle fuel additives that damage injectors, seals, and pumps, then reveal the 5 proven formulas that actually work. Ignore this list, and one cheap bottle could cost you a fuel system rebuild. Stay with us, because when we reach number 1, most riders will realize they trusted the wrong product for years. Number 9. Marvel Mystery Oil Pouring. Marvel Mystery Oil into a modern motorcycle and expecting it to clean injectors is like wiping mud off your boots and calling the whole bike serviced. It sounds convincing until you look closer. This brand has history. Riders have trusted it for decades. You will hear stories about smoother engines, quieter rides. It just feels better. And that is exactly how it earns its reputation. But here is what that bottle actually does. Marvel Mystery Oil is a lubricant first, not a true cleaner. It is built from light petroleum oils with mild solvents, enough to coat parts, not enough to break down the hardened carbon choking your injectors. There is no real dose of polyethylamine, the one detergent proven to dissolve those deposits. So instead of removing buildup, it glides over it. Your engine might feel smoother, idle might settle a bit. The harshness fades just enough to make you think something got fixed. It did not. Those deposits stay baked onto injector tips. Spray patterns remain uneven. Fuel does not atomize the way it should. And on a motorcycle, that margin for error is razor thin. Smaller injectors clog faster. Higher heat makes deposits harder. Throttle response takes the hit first, and it never fully comes back. If this kind of breakdown saves you from wasting money on your bike, hit that subscribe button. That support helps us keep testing the stuff most channels only repeat ads for. I will be fair. If you want a little extra lubrication in an older machine, Marvel can play that role. But calling it a cleaner, that is where riders get burned. Because while you are chasing smoother feel, the real problem keeps building underneath. And that false confidence leads straight to the next bottle. One that smells stronger, sounds more serious, and convinces even more riders it is doing the job. Number 8, Seafoam. Crack open a can of Seafoam and it smells like confidence. Mechanics mention it. Riders defend it. It has been around long enough to feel untouchable. That is the trap. Seafoam is not built on modern detergent chemistry. It is a blend of light petroleum solvents, strong enough to loosen grime, not strong enough to dissolve the hardened carbon inside fuel injectors. And that difference is where problems begin. Because in a motorcycle, nothing has room for error. Those injectors are tiny. Fuel passages are tight. Everything depends on clean, precise spray patterns. When a product only loosens deposits instead of breaking them down, that debris does not disappear, it moves. And it usually moves somewhere worse. And if you think shifting debris around is already risky, wait until you see what happens when a cleaner does not just move contaminants, but starts interfering with the fuel quality itself. When we get to number 4, you are going to see a category that quietly changes how your engine burns fuel, and that is where minor performance issues turn into mechanical damage. Keep that in mind. Now back to what this actually does inside your bike. Bits of carbon and varnish travel downstream where they can partially block injector tips or disrupt fuel flow. Instead of smoother throttle, you get hesitation. Instead of steady idle, you get inconsistency that was not there before. Now, to be fair, Seafoam can help in simpler engines or light buildup situations. But modern fuel-injected motorcycles demand more than that. They need chemistry that finishes the job. And that is where this one falls short. Because once debris starts moving instead of dissolving, the next step is not improvement, it is a problem you did not have before. And the next category takes that risk even further. Number 7, cheap generic additives. See a fuel additive priced like a cup of gas station coffee and promising more power, better mileage, and a cleaner engine. That is not a deal, it is a warning. These no-name bottles do not come from serious chemistry. They are built from low-grade solvent mixes, basic petroleum distillates, alcohol, sometimes kerosene carriers, not engineered detergents, not precision formulas, just aggressive liquids meant to create a quick reaction. And that reaction is the problem. They do not dissolve carbon the way a proper cleaner should. They break it loose. Chunks of varnish and buildup that were sitting quietly get knocked free and pushed through the system all at once. On a motorcycle, that is asking for trouble. Those particles slam into the fuel filter first, then whatever slips through heads straight for injectors that operate with almost no tolerance for contamination. It does not take much to disrupt that flow, and that is when things go sideways. Throttle response drops off, idle turns rough, misfires show up out of nowhere. Not because the bike was failing, but because the fix created the failure. A lot of riders have tried products like these expecting smoother performance. What happened on your bike? Better throttle, no change, or new problems? Leave a comment below, because one honest rider report can help the next person avoid a bad purchase. And if you think that shortcut is risky, the next one goes even deeper, changing the fuel itself in ways most riders never see coming. Number 6. Ethanol heavy cleaners. This is where the conversation shifts from questionable performance to real chemical risk. Because ethanol does not just sit in your fuel, it changes it. Pump gas already carries a controlled amount, and your motorcycle is designed around that balance. But when an additive pushes ethanol levels higher, you are stepping outside what the system was built to handle, and that is where trouble starts. Ethanol pulls moisture straight out of the air. Park your bike in a garage, let it sit through humidity and temperature swings, and that fuel keeps absorbing water the entire time. Eventually it separates. Now the bottom of your tank, the exact spot your fuel pump pulls from, fills with a water and alcohol mix. Not clean fuel, not something your engine can safely burn. That mixture corrodes components, stresses injectors, and disrupts combustion. And it gets worse. Ethanol leans out the air-fuel mix, raising engine temperature. On a high-revving motorcycle, that extra heat builds fast. Pistons, valves, injectors, they all take the hit. Older bikes suffer even more. Seals dry out, hoses crack, materials break down. What feels like a simple additive turns into long-term damage. But moisture damage is only half the story, because the next category does not just attract water, it strips the system itself, drying, thinning, and attacking components that are supposed to stay protected. Number 5. Alcohol-heavy formulas. This is where things stop being subtle and start turning physical. Because these additives do not just interact with fuel, they go after the components holding your system together. Most of them lean heavily on isopropyl alcohol. It is marketed as a quick cleaner, something that dries out moisture and clears contamination. And yes, it does clean, but it does it by stripping everything in its path, not just grime. Protection. Inside your fuel system, seals, O-rings, hoses, and plastic parts rely on a thin layer of fuel for flexibility. That slight lubrication keeps everything sealed, stable, and able to handle pressure and heat. Alcohol removes that layer. Over time, rubber hardens, O-rings lose their shape, plastics become brittle. What once sealed perfectly starts to weaken, quietly, gradually, until it does not. Fuel pressure drops, air sneaks in, leaks begin, and on a motorcycle, that is not a small issue. You are dealing with heat, tight spaces, and components packed close together. What starts as a cleaning solution turns into structural wear, and by the time you notice, the damage is already underway. Drying seals is brutal enough, but the next category fails in a different way, not by being too aggressive, but by being almost useless. A formula that promises cleaning, yet barely has the chemistry to do it. Number 4, kerosene-based additives. Earlier, I warned you about additives that do not just move debris, but start interfering with how your engine actually burns fuel. This is exactly where that risk becomes real. This is where the promise of cleaning falls apart. Kerosene is not engineered detergent chemistry. It is a low-grade petroleum distillate, fine for thinning grease, but ineffective against the hardened carbon packed inside a motorcycle injector and combustion chamber. That is the first flaw. It does not clean what actually matters. Those deposits are baked under extreme heat and pressure. They require specialized detergents to break them down at a chemical level. Kerosene just passes through, maybe softening light residue, but leaving the real restriction untouched. So performance stays the same. Then comes the bigger issue. Kerosene weakens the fuel itself. Now your engine is not just dirty, it is running compromised fuel. In a high-revving motorcycle, that is a serious problem. Combustion becomes unstable, especially under load. You feel it right away. Throttle response drops, power feels muted, and that sharp metallic ping starts creeping in. That is not normal. That is your engine under stress. So here is the real question. Have you ever poured in an additive expecting smoother power, but ended up with hesitation, weak pull, or that faint knocking sound under load? Drop in the comments what bike it happened on and what you noticed first, because these early symptoms are exactly where most riders miss the warning signs before real damage begins. Kerosene does not fix the problem, it adds another one. But weak formulas are not the worst offenders, because next we step into something far more aggressive. Number 3, harsh solvent cocktails. These are not balanced formulas. They are aggressive blends packed with solvents like acetone and xylene. Sounds powerful, and that is exactly the trap, because stronger does not mean smarter. Real injector cleaning is controlled. It breaks down carbon without harming the system. These products do not do that. They attack everything. Inside your fuel system are seals, plastics, coatings, and sensors, all designed for fuel, not industrial solvents. Repeated exposure starts breaking them down. Rubber hardens and cracks. Plastics weaken. Protective layers wear off faster than they should. Then comes the second hit. Instead of dissolving carbon cleanly, these solvents rip it loose in chunks. Those particles travel straight into tiny injector openings, causing restriction or blockage. Now performance drops and damage builds. And it does not stop there. Sensors get contaminated, readings go off. The engine starts making bad decisions. That warning light? It did not just appear, it was triggered. But the next mistake is even more misleading. Number 2, multi-purpose miracle bottles. These products do not just target one system, they claim to handle everything. Injectors, combustion chambers, oil, even exhaust deposits. One bottle, total solution. That sounds convenient. It should also sound suspicious, because real engineering does not work like that. Each part of a motorcycle operates under different conditions. What cleans injectors will not behave the same inside engine oil or exhaust flow. So when one formula claims to do it all, it usually does very little well. Most of these blends are diluted to stay safe across systems. That means they are not strong enough to clean anything properly. Instead of removing buildup, they shift it around or leave it behind. Nothing gets fixed completely, and that creates a slow decline. Throttle stays inconsistent. Idle never fully stabilizes. Performance feels slightly off, but never clearly broken. That is the trap. No clear failure, just no real improvement. But the worst mistake does not happen while riding. It happens when the bike sits still. And before revealing that final killer, if you want to support us even more, become a member for early access to our newest motorcycle videos. Number 1, fake winter storage additives. This is the most dangerous mistake on this list. Not because it destroys your engine fast, but because it does it quietly while your bike is parked. These bottles promise protection. Words like stabilize and preserve sound reassuring. And riders trust them because nothing seems to be happening during storage. But fuel never sits still. Even when your engine is off, gasoline starts breaking down. Lighter elements evaporate. What is left behind thickens, turning into sticky residue that clings to injectors and narrow fuel passages. A real stabilizer slows that reaction. Fake ones do not. They dilute the fuel, but they do not stop the chemical decay. So while your bike sits, deposits slowly build inside the system. You do not see it, you only feel it later. Hard starts, rough running, weak response. In worst cases, the system is clogged beyond recovery. And that failure is not just expensive, it completely breaks the one responsibility a fuel additive is supposed to handle: protecting the system when the bike sits. And when that responsibility collapses, riders do not just want something different. They start looking for the next answer that can actually stabilize fuel, clean injectors, and prevent that damage from forming in the first place. That is exactly where the direction shifts next. To the 5 additives that actually work. The ones that clean properly, burn cleanly, and protect your engine instead of quietly destroying it. Number 5. Lucas Oil Products Deep Clean. There is a reason this bottle keeps showing up in real garages, not just glossy ads. It does not try to impress you, it just keeps engines running the way they should. And in a market built on hype, that quiet reliability matters more than riders think. Here is the part most people miss. Not every motorcycle needs a harsh chemical reset. Most bikes need control, a cleaner that works in the background, keeping deposits from stacking up in the first place. Lucas gets that right. It uses polyethylamine, PEA, the detergent that actually breaks down carbon where it forms, not shifting debris around, not thinning fuel, breaking it down cleanly without throwing the system off balance. And balance is everything on a motorcycle. Tighter fuel passages, finer injector nozzles, higher rev ceilings. These engines do not tolerate unstable blends or aggressive solvents. Push too hard and you create new problems instead of solving old ones. And if this level of control sounds like enough, just wait until we reach the next step ahead, where the goal is not stability anymore, but reversal. There is a point in a fuel system life where deposits are not being managed, they have already taken hold. And when we get there, you will see why a standard routine stops working, and why the next answer is built to pull performance back, not just preserve it. Now back to what this does when used the way it is intended. Use this consistently, and the change creeps in quietly. Throttle response tightens, idle smooths out. The engine just feels cleaner, not louder, not faster, more precise. That is what maintenance is supposed to feel like. It is affordable enough to use regularly, and that is the real advantage. Because the riders who avoid problems are not the ones chasing miracle fixes, they are the ones preventing them. But here is where things shift. When a bike already feels heavy, when response dulls and performance drops, maintenance alone will not pull it back. That is when you stop maintaining and start recovering. And the next bottle is built for exactly that. Number 4, gum out, regain high mileage. Not every motorcycle rolling into your garage is healthy. Some have been fed inconsistent fuel. Others have gone too long without proper care. And eventually the signs show up: an uneven idle, a hesitation when you roll on the throttle, that slight disconnect between your hand and the engine. That is not age, that is restriction. Regain is built for that moment. It carries a stronger dose of polyethylamine, PEA, the detergent that actually dissolves hardened carbon instead of just disturbing it. And that higher concentration matters because older deposits do not come off easily. They bake in, tighten up flow, and slowly choke performance. Run it through a full tank, and the difference is not loud, but it is unmistakable. The engine steadies, response sharpens. That lag starts to disappear. It feels like the bike waking back up. But recovery has its limits. Because once performance comes back, the next question is how to keep it there, and that is where Royal Purple takes it further. Number 3, Royal Purple Max Clean. Now the focus shifts from fixing what is wrong to making sure it does not come back. Some riders do not rack up miles every day. Their bikes sit between rides, sometimes longer than they should. And that is where most fuel problems quietly begin, not on the road, but in the downtime. Max Clean is built for that reality. At its core is polyethylamine, PEA, the same detergent trusted to break down carbon inside injectors and combustion chambers. But it does not stop there. It also helps keep fuel stable, slowing the breakdown that leads to varnish and sticky deposits. That dual role matters, because when a bike sits, fuel changes. Moisture creeps in, residue forms, startups get rough. Run this, and the difference shows up later. The engine fires cleaner, idle settles faster. Everything feels ready, not reluctant. It is less about fixing and more about avoiding the problem entirely. But balance is not everything. Because the next name is not just effective, it is trusted at a level most additives never reach. Number 2, Chevron Techron Concentrate Plus. This is where trust takes over. Once riders stop chasing loud promises and start thinking like technicians, the question changes. What actually works across real engines, day after day, without creating new problems? And the same answer keeps surfacing. Techron. This is not marketing noise. It is a formula built on decades of fuel system research. The polyethyramine inside it, PEA, is the same detergent chemistry used in high-quality fuels to control deposits before they become a problem. That foundation matters more than most realize, because motorcycles do not leave room for mistakes. Narrow passages, fine injector tips, high operating heat, everything demands balance. A cleaner that is too aggressive can upset the system. Too weak, and it does nothing. Techron sits right in the middle. No harsh solvent spikes, no unstable blends. Just a controlled process that breaks down carbon gradually while keeping fuel behavior consistent. Use it once, ride normally, and the result does not feel dramatic, it feels correct. Throttle input becomes predictable. Idle settles into a steady rhythm. Acceleration flows the way it should have all along. That is the difference. Not a sudden transformation, but a return to how the engine was meant to operate. And that creates something riders value more than raw performance. Confidence. No second guessing, no wondering what is happening inside the tank. Just the quiet certainty that everything is working as intended. But even the most balanced solution has its ceiling. Because when deposits are severe, precision alone will not be enough. That is when the final step comes in. If your motorcycle has high miles and still runs strong, tell us the model and mileage in the comments. Riders love hearing which machines survive when they are maintained the right way. Number 1. Redline synthetic oil, SI1. This is the top for one reason: it succeeds where most products fall short. When a motorcycle loses its edge, slow pickup, dull acceleration, that slight lag between your wrist and the engine, you are no longer dealing with light residue. You are dealing with hardened deposits that have settled deep into the system. That is where SI1 steps in. It carries one of the strongest concentrations of polyethyramine, PEA, available in a consumer cleaner. And that matters because PEA is one of the few detergents capable of surviving the heat inside a running engine long enough to actually break down stubborn carbon where it lives. Most additives never reach that point. This one is designed for it. Run a full treatment and the change is not subtle. The hesitation fades, response tightens. The engine feels connected again, like it is finally breathing the way it should. This is not routine care. It is recovery at full strength. Use it when performance has clearly dropped, not as a habit, but as a reset. Because when the right chemistry finally does its job, the difference is not something you wonder about. It is something you feel the moment you twist the throttle. If this video changed how you look at fuel additives, the next motorcycle video will save you from another mistake riders make every day. Tap the next video and keep the ride going. Subscribe to join the tribe. And if this helped you, hit like before you go.